Hi students, today in this practical we are going to understand the practical having title real-time video recording and image capturing using Raspberry Pi. Guys, here the title itself is telling us we are going to play with image and video, and the same is in real time. So now to make this possible, first of all understanding is required. After understand the concept and other terminologies, of course we are going to go for real-time implementation of the same. So before we go to their points, now first of all let me share the outlines. Now here you can see some of the requirements. Then next point we are going to cover how to connect camera module. Then next to that we are going to see control of camera module using command line, and finally in the last we are going to take a look of control of camera module with the help of Python code. So in addition to this we are also having the Python code practice to make this possible along with command lines. So guys, one by one I am going to cover the things. So as I told, first of all we are going to take a look of requirements. So guys, here you can see this is the Raspberry Pi module. Now over here in previous practical you might have understood everything about basic of Raspberry Pi. Now you might have seen this particular port. You can see this is camera module port. On this particular location we are going to connect a camera, and after that by means of coding we can make the things possible. So now let's take a look of Pi camera module. This kind of strip is by default attached with the given camera module. You can see guys, this is a camera you are seeing here. Now with this camera module, the strip is also connected, and in camera module slot the strip, this portion of strip will be connected to make connection final over here. So now let us take a look of the connectivity of this camera module with Raspberry Pi itself. So here you can see I am also going to play animation along with the discussion. So here this camera module I have pulled here. Now you can see what you do, you can see carefully this camera module is having one slider. So you have to pull it up. Now you have to pull it up, the slider, and the terminal of this camera module you have to place like this. See this carefully, and after that you have to push that particular slider. Okay, so after this you can make sure that yes, now your camera module is successfully completed. Students, once again I repeat the process. Have a look. You just take this camera module, pull the slot, and then connect the respective camera module strip on given slot. See this carefully. I have pulled it. Okay, now I am placing this module. Make sure that these strips will be connected like this toward the interior portion of the Raspberry Pi module. Keeping hope the things are clear. Now after this connection we have to start the Raspberry Pi, because OS and other things are already installed in it. After switch on the Raspberry Pi and respective OS will be ready to execute the task. So as I told, now when we have done this we need to go to the desktop of the Raspberry Pi. So here you need to go to the main menu and then open the Raspberry Pi configuration tool. You must have questioned that how the window will be look like, and from where we can get this configuration tool. So now in this next slide I am going to share the scene. First of all, dear students, you just try to see in this particular window you are having the desktop of Raspberry Pi operating system. I have used Raspbian, but many others too you can use. There are many different options available in the market. Fine. So now you have to click on this left top corner of the window. You see this carefully. When you click this, you will be having this kind of drop down menu. In this drop down menu, you have to come down on the list and click on the preferences. Now when you click on preferences, you will be having many options as it is depicted over here in one more sub list of preferences. Here you can see very first is the add or remove software, second is appearance setting, audio device setting, main menu editor, mouse and keyboard setting, Raspberry Pi configuration and recommended software. This each and every selection is having their own importance, but at this point of time we have to click on the Raspberry Pi configuration only. So that to make this possible, we have clicked it. After click the same, what should be there? So this kind of window must be there in front of your eyes on the desktop of Raspberry Pi. Now when you will take a look of the same, you will be having different options like systems, interface, performance, then localization, etc., etc. Here you are having different interface. You are knowing well what is SSH, what is VNC, what is SPI. All these are like I2C. All these are very popular interfaces, right? In addition to that, serial port, serial console, and everything, right, including GPIO, you can connect over here. But at this point of time, we have to make sure that whether our camera module is enabled or not. Every time it is not true that camera module is enabled. So we have to make sure this block, we have to check whether the enable button is clicked or not. If it is not, we have to click and then we have to press OK button. If we can do this, then after it is firm that now camera can simply connect to the Raspberry Pi module and in fact ready to communicate the data. So now after click this OK button, now you are ready to make the things possible. Now what to do? So yeah, now you can simply start your execution task. So initially, as I told in the outline of this presentation, we are going to go for the command line based capturing image as well as videos. So what you do, you need to open a terminal window. I'm going to share it from where we can get it. Right, so we have to open this terminal window by clicking the black monitor icon which is available on the taskbar. If you can get it, it is something like command line which we are normally used to use in our Windows operating system. In command line, you need to write this command. You can note it down if you want. The command is raspi -o desktop/image.jpg. So dear students, by means of this command, this execution, you are not only enabling your camera, in addition to that you are offering the path to the system to store the image having name image on the respective location. See this carefully, having name image. So on desktop your image will be saved, which is going to captured by your camera module, which is connected by means of the Raspberry Pi. Okay, so when you run this command, as I told, the camera preview will be open. You can find it out on your screen also, right? And it will be available. Your camera will be remain on up to the time of 5 seconds. right? So by means of that, the system will capture image and it will be stored on the desktop of your Raspberry Pi. Fine. Now next thing is how to add the height and width. I mean to say that how we can play the dimension of the image whatever we want. So for the same respective command is raspi steel -o desktop image -small. Dear students, see this carefully. Only a difference I have included, I have incorporated. What it is? Image image -small dot jpg, right? It is as usual. Previous image was having name image only, but now here we are having modified name of image. In place of image it is image -small, and we have to prescribe over here the size, the dimension. Width 640 pixels and height is 480 pixels. So by means of this much dimension of size of image you can store in the desktop of Raspberry Pi having name image small dot jpg. I'm keeping hope the things are clear. Fine. Likewise, you must have question how we can go for video recording. So video recording you can make possible by means of this given command. The command line is raspivid. It is very simple to remember also. Raspivid -o desktop /video.h264. So guys, this h264 is the video standard with which extension your video file will be stored here, right? So also the same thing. For 5 second video will be continue, and the video having name video.h264 will be stored on the desktop itself. So this was what about the execution of the camera for image as well as video capturing and the storing on the respective memory location. Now we are going for the control of camera by means of Python code. So guys, what to do? So you need to open Python 3 editor, which is also available on the similar menu of the list of different commands, right? And in this editor particularly you better to select Thorny Python IDE. It is a very light mode of Python editor, so very easy to implement the task by means of this particular Thorny Python editor, so that we are preferring it much more. Now after open this, what you do, if suppose you would like to keep your camera remain on up to 5 seconds, right? And if you would like to close, then these are the command line which you need to follow. So you just see this is from the command is from PyCamera, import PyCamera. Make sure this from this PyCamera library you are inviting this PyCamera module. So it is going to fulfill the required task. It is supposed to execute the required task. Okay, in addition to this module PyCamera, make sure the difference. Here in module the P is capital in PyCamera, and in library the P is small. Okay, so make sure this difference. In addition to that, you can also make this from time import sleep. You have to get sleep from the time library. These two things are needed only to make the things possible to capture an image. Fine. Next to that, you need to call this PyCamera module, right? And then you have to store it in camera. So what happened by execution of this particular instruction, what happened, your PyCamera module will be started working and the content will be stored in the camera variable. Now what happened, this camera will start its preview by means of this command lines execution, and it will be remain continue for 5 seconds, and after your expected delay it will get stopped, right? So this is the code line for the same. Next is, if you would like to rotate your image, live image, if you would like to rotate and capture, then what? So as usual, you need to call both the libraries which I have already shared. in previous command line, you have to initiate your camera by means of this pi camera instruction, and then your expected level of rotation you need to offer. So here I have given 180 degree, right? So by means of this, now whatever image I will be having will be rotated by 180 degree. You can keep 90, you can keep 30, you can keep 45, as per your need you can change it, right? Okay. And now if you would like to change this situation of the camera, actually by means of this you are handling camera, you are controlling camera, you are commanding camera, right? So that if you would like to reset, then again, as I have written in this footer, that you have to set this rotation to 0 degree, right? So by means of this you can do it. All these things we are going to execute on our live video. So you just wait for the same and keep all these things in your mind. Fine. Now sometime in some of the applications we are also observing in the device like our mobile phone, that our captured image are offering some sort of transparency, right? So that transparency level, if you would like to incorporate over here, then you can see, guys, by means of this you can make this possible. Again, same library, group of library and modules you have to call, you have to excite your camera, and then you have to start preview. And over here the alpha is the parameter which is responsible for the same. You can see alpha equal to 200. If you change from 200 to 100, 200 to 300, right, then this change will be changed the transparency level. You can look from the object, from the you can look outside, other side of the object which you are capturing, whatever your camera is supposed to capturing, that also you can realize. So this scenario will be available for the time, depends on the delay which you have given, and finally you can stop the preview, so camera will get turned off. You must have questions, sir, why in this comment you have written this alpha varies from 0 to 255. So dear students, here I wanted to change the value of this, my level of transparency, from 0 to 255. 255 is offering highest transparency and vice versa, right? So that level of execution we are going to see very soon. Next to that, you can see this image using Python. So here what you are supposed to do, in any other location you can save your image, right? So you just see from Pi camera, import the same library and module, right? And then after you are initiated your camera, you are starting preview, right? And then you are supposed to use capture. Previously you were having visibility, right? But now you will be having capture the image, right? So the camera dot capture command, this command, dear students, camera dot capture command will make this possible. And finally, after capture the image, this capture process will be takes place during the last second of this delay. Up to the last moment of delay, your camera will be turned on, and immediately when camera is supposed to stop, right, before that you are going to capture your image and save on the respective location. Okay, and finally by means of camera dot stop underscore preview, you can stop your camera. Keeping hope the things are clear in your mind. Okay, now if suppose you would like to save more images in a row, more than one images, so of course dear students, no need to say that here the loop will comes into the picture, right? So as usual, same modules from similar library you have to call, you have to initiate your camera, right? You have to start preview from your camera, and then you have to start your for loop for I in range 5, and then after sleep camera capture. So camera will start capturing. So after each and every 5 seconds, over here the camera will capture the image. Okay, so how many images will be there? Total 5 images you will be having in your respective location, right? So s.jpg, right? So it is something like the s1 jpg, s2 jpg, and so on up to 5. So whatever count of delay you would like to keep, whatever the number of images you would like to keep, you can, right, by means of this command lines. And finally you have to stop the preview. Next to that, if you would like to go for the video, right, then as usual, same library, same module, and you have to initiate your camera by means of same command line, and you have to start your preview, okay, by camera. And before you go to sleep, you have to go for immediately recording. Otherwise, you will be not having much more time to record your expected frames from the given scene, right? So you have to start recording, and then the put sleep, then after you have to stop recording after your expected delay, and then you need to go for the preview. So before stop preview, you have to stop recording. Otherwise, the recording will be continuously available, right? But preview will stop the camera, so recording will not be there, right? So this thing we have to keep in mind. Now guys, if you would like to set resolution, right? If you would like to change the quality, if you would like to improve the quality or moderate the quality to saving the communication cost and too many things, the things definitely is going to come in theory section, right? So don't worry right now about it, right? But if you like to change your resolution, then what you do, you have to use this instruction camera.resolution. Make sure, dear students, that here the library allocation and calling is same, initialization of camera instruction is also same, right? And what you are having camera.resolution, so you are keeping this resolution 64 by 64, right? Okay, and at the same time you are keeping frame rate 50. Make sure this, right? So here you are going to play with the quality of your image, right? So after setting this resolution, dear students, after setting this resolution, right, and the frame rate, you can start the preview. You already set it, you already given command, you have to give sleep time, and then you have to start capturing. So with respective level of resolution, right, you will be having the quality of image. You can change it, right, and you can find it out the difference of taste of image quality too. Okay. Next to that, if suppose you would like to add some caption to the image, I have written it as text to image, right? So what you do, again same libraries and same command to initiate camera, right? You have to start preview, and the instruction command line camera.annotate underscore text you have to write, and what text you would like to incorporate, what caption you would like to incorporate in image, that you have to write over here, right? And finally you have to keep delay, and then you have to capture the respective image, right? And then you have to stop the preview, right? So you can find the hello world will be there on the respective location, okay, on the image. Likewise, you can also play with brightness control. These things remain same. You are having camera.start underscore preview, again same, right? But if you like to set your brightness, right, then it is 70 you are keeping sleep, and you are again using camera.capture. So by means of this camera.brightness, you can set the brightness and you can make this possible, the preview, and finally after capture an image you can stop the preview. So such a way you can, right? So like this you can see, you have to stop the preview. Next to that, the same process you can carry out on the contrast variation, and you can make the things possible like that, right? So by means of this, all these things, not only image but along with image, we are also going to play with the camera capturing capability. It's a feature, and everything we can change. Not only that, by the same time we can also store our desired dimension, size, quality, and other characteristic of images in our respective location on the memory of Raspberry Pi. So this was what about the capability and the introduction about the Raspberry Pi and image with video processing, right? So now in our next task we are going to deal with the execution of this task, right, by means of the live video. Okay, so thank you very much to see all these things, right, and I'm keeping hope you will refer it up to the mark and you will explore much more in the respective direction. Okay, good day everyone, see you.